Hello, welcome to the 1000 kilometer honest review of the BMW GS750. Let's ride. Hello. Good morning, good evening, and maybe good afternoon. And welcome to the video. This is Dean Rodvera, the Moto Dean. And in this video we will discuss, or I will discuss, explain my review of this BMW GS750 at 1000 kilometers. Although technically it's not yet 1000, it's 952, but I guess I'd rather do the video now because it's, what's 50k? Anyway, this is the BMW 750 or GS750. I don't know where you want to put the GS, but it's still a GS. And I'll put the specs up here in the screen below, or sorry, on the screen. And to show you that aside from common knowledge, an 853cc displacement, parallel twin. And let's just stop here to stoplight. Of course, I'm going to stop at the on the shade, or by the shade. I don't want to ruin my sunblock. And it's got 77 horsepower, 61 foot-pounds of torque. That's the basics of the motorcycle. Of course, you saw a while ago the more specific specifications. And right, first, what are the good points of this BMW 750? Well, of course, the good points, aside from the brand, I would think is the engineering. Why do I say that? This has great balance. On the second day of ownership, I took this bike to work, and on the way home it started raining. Now, from where I work in near Kansas City, I take the elevated highway, or called the Skyway. And normally, when I enter that Skyway, and to reach my exit, Sukat exit, it's only about 30 minutes. But because it was my second day, brand new bike, I took it slow and careful, and it took me almost 2 hours to get home. It was raining. I don't want to say it's flooded, but of course the road was super wet. And also I was already being super careful, and I had no problems balancing at slow speeds. It's very nimble, and despite its size and weight, I handled it easily. And it was a trial by fire. Wait, sorry, trial by rain. You don't actually have to ride through fire, but you do ride through rain. And that was great. And the engineering of this bike, I give my whole applause, so to speak. Another good point about this bike, it is a mid-level adventure bike, so to speak, and it's packaged, so to speak, on maybe a 70-30, 80-20 ratio, the higher number being for the road rather than being for off-road. There is a different variant for this model. It's called the 850, and it's basically still the same engine, but it has spoke wheels, I guess better traction for rough road, so to speak. It's got a higher, it's higher, its seat height is higher, I guess for more clearance, and it's got better play for the shocks. But the cost, the higher cost compared to this one, it didn't outweigh, what I needed. Another good point of this bike is it'll be a good commuting bike if you commute mostly freeways or highways. This bike will be perfect for the Philippine road. Not all roads are paved, and not all roads are paved well. And this bike can handle any of the roads in the Philippines. So that's why this bike is great. Now, of course, for every good points there are also some bad points. And I would say one of the, let's say bad points, maybe the weak points in getting this bike for a Filipino like me is its height, seat height. I'm of average height. I think I'm 5'7", maybe. Sorry, I'm 5'6" and a half. I'm 5'7" if I use DeSantis heels. That'll make me 6 feet. I'm not exactly tippy-toeing on the bike, but if it's on a standstill, I'm more or less on the balls of my foot. Great balls of feet. And so that's the disadvantage. Second disadvantage, or the second weak point, I would say, is its weight. Now, of course, any bike, if you're running, so to speak, its weight is immaterial to the engine size. The higher, the heavier the bike, the more, if the engine's bigger, it can take it. But 2 weeks into this bike, I dropped the bike, and I wasn't quick enough to get off, and the bike fell on my leg, and the seat peg embedded itself onto my rear shin, or shin of the muscle parts. Fortunately, I didn't get any bad injury, just a hole. It was easily stitched up, and it didn't reach the bone nor the muscle because it's full of fat. So it's sometimes good being fat. And so this bike is great. I mean, aside from the weak points. Now, in trying to get, because my first bike is a Honda Rebel 500, and I'll give a link in the description below on my other videos describing that bike. So when I decided to get not an upgrade, but a different bike to suit what I needed more, going more on adventure rides in the Philippines, going around, and having me more comfortable having a passenger, my wife, I looked into the different models. For the Kawasaki, there was the Versys series, either the 650 or the 1000, because this engine size is between the two of that. And for the Suzuki, there was the V-Strom, also the 650 and the 1000. For the KTM, there's a 690 Adventure, and of course I only found out there's a Husqvarna 900. The Triumph had the Tiger series. The Honda, of course, there was the 500X, but that's basically the same engine as my Rebel. So you have to go higher, which is basically the Trans-Alp or the Africa Twin, which is a bit too much for my blood. And all that I looked into, spec-wise, shopping on the internet, so to speak. But I only got to test drive this one because my good friend, who was the sales honcho at BMW in Danghari, and he told me, hey, try out the 750. It's not the 1250, but it's just as great for its engine size. And so I did, and I loved it, and I decided to buy it with the blessing of my wife. Actually, she bought this for me. Thank you, my beautiful spouse. And so I got this bike late September, and I've been in a couple of long rides. Fortunately, one of those long rides, I suffered the fall, and I had to be car lifted by my son on the way home. Fortunately, ironically, I dropped the bike near a motorcycle training center. And those guys who I befriended before the fall were very, 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 I won't say the word generous, but kind-hearted enough to help me, and even drove me to the hospital because of that injury. And I want to be able to thank and have a big shout out to Motor Clyde Training Center. I'll give a link down below on how you can take the MSF course, so to speak. And thank you to them, the coaches there. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And I'm forever grateful. Now, I haven't gone to the top speed of this bike. I refuse to do it. Not that I have a phobia or a fear, but I'm never that type of guy. I don't really run fast. Although I have to admit, compared to the Rebel, the power of this bike is tremendous compared to the Rebel. And of course, you have your 1000 series, you have your bigger bikes, your sports bikes. This is not made for that, and you'll never compete with it. But compared to the Rebel, the power of this and acceleration is tenfold, I would say. And I'm not used to it. Not that I want to get used to it, but I don't need to go that fast. I mean, I will go that fast if it's required, but it won't be on a standard basis. And this bike, at the time I bought it, costs around 765,000 Philippine pesos. I will put up on the screen how much is it in US dollars, euros, and British sterling pounds. And that price is out the door, meaning you pay that price, you bring the bike out. And that's what my wife paid for, and thank you very much, Anna. Thank you very much. So this bike, if you are in the market for, not say upgrade, but a choice for a bigger bike, so to speak, this bike is just right for you and the Philippine roads. I mean, for the no offense, but to the Western countries, I mean, I envy your roads. To go riding through Europe, the UK, and even in America, in the US, you know, those mountain roads in the deserts. I mean, if I was there with this bike, I would be out every weekend and every long holiday. In fact, I'm making this video on a long holiday. Kudos to BMW. I have no regrets at all acquiring this bike. It's great for what I need. It's a middleweight adventure bike. There are lighter adventure bikes depending on the brand. You know, you have the Honda CB500X, or I think there's a new name for that now. I'll put it up here. And of course, there's the Himalayan 400. But right now, there's a new version, the 450. I haven't seen that yet. It won't come here till like next year, middle of next year. So I couldn't wait. I decided to get this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed the ride today. Just a short ride to demonstrate and to show you how I am riding this bike. I really appreciate the time that you spent here watching. If you could, it could help me a lot. Subscribe to my channel if you have not yet. Maybe hit that thumbs up button, and if you can, it's not gonna cost you a thing. Share this video on your platforms. I really would appreciate it. This is Dean Rod Vera, or the Moto Dean, thanking you. And remember, guys, it's not what you know, it's what they don't know. Ride safe always, guys. See you on the road. Moto Dean out.